fast here. What we're going to cover today is a topic that many of you are dealing with right now, and that's fear. I think many of you live with that topic in your everyday life and don't know how to break the chains. If you don't have the book yet, there's plenty of time to get it for week 2 and week 3, and then you can watch the replay. But we're covering chapter 4, week 1, fear, getting out of fear, moving into love. Next week we're covering, I picked 3 chapters from this book that I feel are very prevalent to what's happening now. Next week will be surrendering. How do we surrender? How many of us don't even know how to surrender? And then week 3, we are going to cover the Ascension, but I do feel that the Ascension of what's happening now, that's connected to the last chapter, chapter 11 of this book. You may hear me talk a lot about Ascension in week 1 and week 2, and leading up to the whole lesson of Ascension in week 3, guys. I see you all tuning in. Thank you. I see you coming from all parts of the world, and it's good to see some familiar names and some names that I don't recognize. But thank you for joining me, because this book, when I wrote this book and my spirit guides told me to write this book, it didn't make sense to me at the time. It wasn't a book that I felt I needed to write as a psychic medium, but they were assuring me that this is information that needs to be gotten out when it did, which was 1 year ago. That was the hardcover. And now, in time of this pandemic, the soft cover, the paperback kind of is released much more. It's more affordable, just in case you couldn't afford the hardcover. Not a tremendous difference in price, but each retailer sells it differently. I believe the paperback is $16.99. Don't quote me on it, but I do believe that's the price, and that's pretty affordable if you can want to do some soul searching and learn all about what's happening in our world now. I don't speak per se of a virus in this book, but the whole book is geared towards how to move out of the fear-based mindset into the heart. So I want to start a little bit from the beginning, and those of you who know me, you know that I love to explain things in a very down-to-earth manner, which is where we can all relate no matter what level you're on. I don't want to speak out of your league where you just can't follow me. So I'm going to make it a little bit simple, and I want to start with the basics. There is a few places where we operate from in our energy fields, and everybody has an energy field. And we have what's called chakras, and you can learn all about the chakra systems in the body with whatever book or internet search you'd like to learn if you don't already know. And they're energy centers where we filter emotions, we filter energy. It's like that's our chakras are like our translators, human translators of feelings. So you know where we have the translators for words, where there's another language and there's the interpreter. The chakras interpret energy that is constantly coming at us. And we have chakra systems all the way from the base of our spine to the crown here. And the biggest gateway, the one in the heart chakra, the heart chakra is the middle energy center. And the whole point of this book is to live in the heart center as opposed to the bottom chakras, which kind of carry a lot of the programming from other lifetimes, childhood, programs that your family has anchored into your rearing you, and they were raised with this program as well. So the lower chakras hold on to the programs, the instilled, what the government programs us to believe, our education systems, what they program us to teach us, society, what society teaches us, And then, of course, during our life, there's many authority figures that come in and they sort of play a role in our life. We have teachers, we have religious leaders, we have parents, we have older siblings, and we sometimes even have the bullies that where, you know, make us believe that we have no power. But these authority figures come in and they dictate what you should think, how you should feel, right? If you're the oddball in your family and you never really fit in, and people are always saying when you were younger, or maybe even still to today, telling you, oh, you're so sensitive, or oh, you know, you're a weirdo, or you're not like the rest of us, and all of that. Okay, that's just another program that they've kind of instilling inside of you. And so we walk around and we store these programs in the lower chakras. They're there to live on the three-dimensional earth. They're there for our survival. The lower chakras also are connected to the earth. The root chakra all the way at the bottom, and they all have an associated color. I'm not going to get too far. I don't want to make this a lesson on chakras, but I need you to understand the basis of this book. And you can do your own research on the chakras if you don't already know about the energy centers. The gut is, you have your solar plexus. The root is at the bottom level. It's connected to the color red, and it's all connected to survival mode and how you feel safe in the world. It connects to your money, how much money you have or don't have. So we connect to these chakras, and we base our programming connected to which chakra we want to actually operate from. Which one do we want to dominate our life? Which chakra do you allow yourself to dominate in your life? And in this book, and especially chapter 4, that's what we're covering tonight, I have a scale of fear-based emotions all the way up to, the highest emotion that exists, which is all a frequency. Emotions are all frequencies, so every thought is a frequency, and the highest vibration is love. So we have the highest vibration of love, and the lowest vibration is fear. And we anchor the fear into the lower chakras, and we anchor the love through the heart chakra. So on any given day, we all kind of vacillate between the lower chakras, the higher chakras. We have some good days, we have some bad days. Some days we feel so loving and giving and compassionate, and other days we feel selfish and fearful, and we want to just stay in our own, maybe even our own selfish, leave me alone, I have nothing to give to you, I need to give it to all myself now, right? So we go back and forth between all these chakras constantly. We're always doing that. The key is to stay in as much as you can. The gateway to the higher realms is through the heart. So this is the middle point. The middle point right here, the heart, connects the lower chakras and the higher chakras. The higher chakras is the heart, then you have the throat, then you have the third eye, then you have the crown, which connects to the other realms, the higher realms. That's why in many religious pictures or paintings, you'll see all these religious leaders with this halo around their head of light, halo of light. That totally symbolizes these religious symbols like Jesus, Buddha, Christ, all that, to the higher realms. So the halos, even angels, right? The halos represent the crown chakra that's open, where light can filter in. But the gateway is at the heart. That's the entry point. I see Buffalo in the house. Love to see where you're all coming from. So I'm giving you such like a real basic lesson, like just so we can get into where do you choose to operate from. And a lot has to do with your programming, right? And what about the fact that maybe you're typically a very positive person, but with this pandemic, we are being kind of almost brainwashed to have fear, right? You put on the TV, you see the statistics. You're hearing all kinds of conspiracy theories, which might be true, might not be true. There may be a lot of validity to these theories. I'm not here to say that. I'm not here to, validate that or not. But what I'm saying is that's still connected to a 3D matrix web, picture a web that you're tangled in as a soul, because you're in the 3D body. You can never live on the three-dimensional earth unless you have an actual physical vehicle to get you around, right? So look at the body as a car, right? And the engine is the soul. But it has different gears, right? So the gears are equivalent to the chakras. You can go in the lower gears and, the car can kind of stall out, which is the fear-based chakras, lower chakras, density. It holds you back. It keeps you stuck. Fear keeps you stuck. It keeps you in the low gear like the car. When you shift into the high gear, which we have, we can go to 4-dimension, 5-dimension. We could go, consciousness goes up to 12, maybe even further than 12 dimensions. But remember, we're living in the 3-dimensional, which is equivalent to the physical world, right? This book is physical. I can touch it. It has a physical molecules. It's dense, density. So the soul needed a dense vehicle to get around in. But it doesn't mean that your consciousness needs to stay in that density. The consciousness or the outlook or the vibration, because every thought has a frequency and a vibration. So do numbers, so do, every thought has a frequency. Everything has a frequency, no matter what it is. And I wrote a chapter about numbers, but we're not covering that this time around. And I did an 11-part series when the book first came out. You can find them all on my Facebook page. So look for that, Psychic Medium Kim Russo. You can look about frequencies and vibrations. But for now, we're talking about the most dense frequency is the fear-based one. That's the one that keeps us stuck. It keeps us paralyzed. It keeps us, let's equate it to what's going on now. Let's sort of bring it to the now. I like to bring everything to the now. What about the fact that that's what's happening? We are locked in our homes. We don't know what's happening with our jobs. We don't know what the world will be looking like when we come out of all of this, right? This is just the reality. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm telling you the reality we're all globally living with. Not just me, not just you, not the United States. We're talking this, this is on a global level. So what my spirit guides told me was, and I told you I will reference the Ascension, is that the reason this book needed to come out ahead of time, it had to get its sea legs, it had to circulate, it had to get out there, was so that when this happens, I can now only see this, 2020 is hindsight, right? No pun intended. Here we are in 2020, and in 2019, this came out, and they wanted it out ahead of time, my spirit guides, and they said, this book needs to come out now. And there was a sense of urgency, and my publisher knows about that. I shared that. We didn't really know why, but we do now, and this is what we're living with. We're living now with, how do we get this fear under control, and how do we move into the heart space, the gateway, to connect to the higher frequencies and connect it to the Ascension, which is the last chapter of the book, which we will cover on the third Friday, 3 Fridays in a row. Tell all your friends to join in. Free class. It's better to, have the book to follow along, but if you don't have the book, this is valuable information anyway. The bottom line is, right now, as humans, we are still in the 3D body, but a lot of us are forced to go to a place because of the uncertainty. We don't know how to shift out of this uncertainty, right? Because nobody has really any answers for us. We're hearing all different scenarios on the news. We're hearing what cures it, what doesn't. we're hearing things that are so widespread and varying, such as this is no different than a common cold to if you get this, you're going to die. So what are we to think? What are we to do? Where, as humanity, where are we to go? Where are we to turn? Now, if the key here is to separate from this matrix, this three-dimensional programming, which is living. We were actually taught to live in the lower chakras. It was taken out of our schools. They never taught us about our abilities. Because when I say they, I'm talking about the program. All right? I don't want to name names, but it's the program. It's in the history books. None of this was included in our education system. None of this was taught to our parents, except maybe if we have some indigenous family members that knew the secrets of living in the heart. Because they, listen, I don't think I have to tell you who they are. You know who they are. It's the system. It's the matrix. They taught us if we can live in the lower chakras, we'll never know the true power we really, really possess, or the true power we came here with. And they knew this. They know this secret. And then there are ascended masters like Jesus. Okay, no religion here. This is, Jesus wasn't even Catholic or Christian. He was Jewish. The point is, forget about religion. That was another man-made structure system to keep us in the lower chakras. Because if we believe that we don't have help and we don't feel that we can help each other, and it's a dog-eat-dog world, then we can still stay in the fear, and then we can still be controlled. All right. Of course, why do they want to control us? Well, that's like just a whole nother topic, but it's all for control and greed and if you're on this page right now and you found my book and you know me, I think you're smart enough to know that Kim Russo is dropping the truth. I think you're smart enough to know that there is a real battle going on right now between good and evil. Actually, there always was. But it's intense now, and we're actually climaxing. We're getting to the point of which frequency is going to dominate humanity. So it's sort of like a battle for our souls, because right now you've heard the phrases light workers, and there's all these psychic. I'm not the only psychic out there, and medium, and there's people out there that are doing miracles every day. They're Reiki. There's energy workers. They work with meridians in the body. There's sound healers. There's light healers. There's healing modalities that maybe you never even heard of, but people are doing them now. There's so many healers out there. I'm so grateful to have a voice to bring to you, to keep it in a very down-to-earth approach. So thank you for that. And I could never do this without you guys. And I think you all know, authors don't get rich off of books these days. Like, this is not even about that. This is about, I went out on a limb here to write this book because I know that this was not what was expected of me. Again, do you see the word expect? Matrix, system, program. I went out of the program and I listened to my spirit guides and I said, I don't know why. I'll do what you said. I'll do what you say. And they said, we'll channel the book through you. And now I understand why you need the information contained in this book. Yes, Robin, I think you Neff, the awakening. It's also known as the Great Awakening. It's also known as the Ascension. It's known as the Age of Aquarius. It's known as the Golden Age. So here we are now. If this is the time we all agreed to be here, right now, you understand the frequency of fear. It's dominating the planet, not the United States. Global. It's even dominating the galaxies. Because depending on what happens on Earth right now is going to reverberate and affect every other planet in the galaxies. So Earth is a portal. That's all it is. And it's a planet that was able to be infiltrated easily through dark forces. And the light forces always was there for free will, for your taking. Okay? But how do we know that? If we don't know something exists, how do we know that we can rise above and break away from the fear? Well, we now know it. We are breaking away from a lot of systems. There are a lot of systems that, actually, if you read my first book, The Happy Medium, I explain in that book, none of these systems ever made sense to me, even as a little child. You know, the religious, the confession, the priest taking my sins and going, because I was raised Catholic, the priest having more power than me, and he can take my sins to God, but I couldn't. That never was flying with me, even as 7, 8, 9. Like, I'm like, you know, questioning my mom. I'm sure a lot of you questioned it too. And what about the answer that we all got? Because I said so, that's why. Why is this, Mom? Why is that? Why is that? Because it just is. You know, now we're all waking up now. What's happening now is humanity is rising up along with Mother Earth. The reason things are different now, somebody said the rapture. Yeah, you could call this the rapture, the ascension, right? We're ascending out of our bodies in the sense of the reality of our consciousness. So we're ascending out of the lower chakras. We're getting into the heart. And by the way, Jesus knew this secret. The Christ consciousness. Jesus knew the secret of living in the heart. He never lived in the lower chakras. He could never perform miracles in the lower chakras because the lower chakras is only where it restricts you. It keeps you in fear. It keeps you limited. It makes you believe that you can only go so far and that's it. It also doesn't ever connect you to your higher source, which is all that is, God, the God force, all that is creation. And if we're sparks of the divine, and we are, and we enter that space through the heart. If we want to stay in the 3D, we can stay in our lower chakras. That's why meditation is so important. It helps raise your vibration, from the lower chakras up to the heart and above. Meditation does that. Breathing gets you out of the fear. Because right now, we have to stay in our bodies. It's very important that we do that. We have to feel every emotion because we're clearing the bottom chakras. Right now, it's normal. It's almost not a coincidence that we're stuck in our houses and we're stuck with ourselves and the people we chose to have in our lives. Partners, friends, neighbors, maybe. We're seeing a lot of the truth now because, I'll tell you why, there's not all the distractions. See? In the past, we would just keep going to work and, you know, come home. We had not a minute to do any research, to go within. It was just like this ongoing rat race. So it's kind of unusual that in this pandemic, we are finding ourselves. So in losing ourselves, we are finding ourselves. In losing our world as we've known it, we're finding the true meaning of who we are. Okay, and just being on these broadcasts with me right now, you are doing that. It found you. It called to you. However you received the call to come on and learn about this, you were being tapped on your shoulder to bring you to another level, or to allow me to help you to plant seeds and to make you understand who you truly are. Okay? Now, it's important, no matter what happens in the 3D, we're not going to escape that because we are ascending consciously when we raise our vibration. But it doesn't mean that takes us out of the world and all of its problems. Okay, we are here as a light worker. Many of you don't like you. Many of you, by the way, will not go back to your old jobs. And you never had the time to know that it wasn't working for you. But you now have the time and say, it's almost like when you eat chicken every night. You just can't have another bite of chicken. You can't go back to it. A lot of you won't even have a job to go back with. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that because this is not happening to us, it's happening for us. Because when we live through the heart, we can't live in faith and fear at the same time. One has to equal the other out. They cannot coexist. Faith and fear cannot coexist. So in every moment, we have a choice. In every news report we hear, we have a choice. And when we know we are so powerful, and we're such infinite beings that we are, and we're connected to Source, and when we live in the heart, it's our gateway to heaven. Yes, even heaven on earth. Now, I want you to think about this. If all of humanity holds that high vibration, the lower vibrations can never sustain and coexist with the high vibrations. Does that make sense? Because it's dense. It's dense. It can't rise up to that level. So evil can never touch the light. Once you rise above it, and fear goes bye-bye, and fear is only an illusion. It's only a program. It only is a belief system that we've been programmed to believe. None of it's real. So, yeah, I'll break it down. So, okay, Kim, you're telling me that if I can't pay my mortgage and I have no food to feed my children and I am homeless, that I should just walk around living in my heart and singing Kumbaya? Kim, is that what you're telling me? Listen, I get you. I'm there right with you. What I need you to understand is this. You need to go higher, another higher octave of that thought. Because, and you've all heard that this is the ultimate equalizer. The corporations are folding. All right, let's just say we're all on a semi-equal playing ground when this is all over, economically. Let's just say, because I'm trying to answer your question, because I know that's what you're thinking. And let's say that where the government or the higher-ups, I love to call them just authority, the people that think they want to keep you in the fear. How about that? The systems in place, even your family systems, by the way. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your children that are trying to keep you in a lower vibration. I don't care who it is. What I was saying to you is, if we're all in the same boat, and all of a sudden we're all finding ourselves without jobs, let's just say, and without money, or without a way to pay our rent. Think about if almost everyone's going through this something similar. What do we do as humans? We can help each other. We start to help each other. We start to help each other. We can institute the barter system again. When humanity rises up out of the fear and they realize its power and that the fear has no power over them, and we're not all going to get there at the same time, by the way. Some of us are already holding space for the ones that didn't wake up yet. And when I say that, those are the ones that are still very attached to the 3D matrix, aka fear-based thinking. And I'm talking predominantly, because I have fear, we all do, we're human. But the key is not to stay in those frequencies for too long. But if you think about, we're all now being put in the same situation. This virus doesn't even discriminate about, you know, social status, race, you know, religious. It has no boundaries. It has no borders, right? But then we have some people that are really fearful about, oh, they're going to come for us and they're going to take us away, and we're going to get vaccinations and we're going to die, and they want to do depopulation. This is all scouring the internet right now. Everybody who's on internet right now, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you are all seeing what I'm seeing. You can stay in that 3D reality and believe that the boogeyman's going to come and get you. But if you start holding space for the heart and get rid of the fear, and you start holding space to the higher dimensions through the gateway of the heart, and we all start to do this, and we do it for each other, and we understand that there are just some people didn't hear the call yet. They didn't get the call yet. The call to humanity, that the humanity's waking up to the higher vibration. And the reason it's happening now is the earth has raised her vibration. The earth itself and its science has proven that the earth's vibration is risen quite a bit. You won't hear, you know, you won't hear this on CNN, trust me, or the news. But the Earth's Schumann resonance electromagnetic field is already rising. It's already rising up. And once the Earth rises its frequency, as humans and inhabitants of the Earth, we have to actually rise with it. Now, there are some that are choosing to cling to the old vibration. Earth has surpassed that vibration. It's not even there anymore. So that's why everything is coming to light. Because when you raise your vibration, you get into the heart where love dwells. Now, love is equal to truth, right? That's in the book too, by the way. Love is equal to truth. Truth is equal to love. And when you get to the truth, you can never go back. So this is all about awakening your light body, okay? The true person that you are. Now, how is that finding your soul purpose? Well, when you disconnect from the lies of who you thought you were or weren't, you can get to the truth of why your soul decided to come here. At this very, very pivotal moment ever in history of the galaxies, of the universe, not just Earth. I told you what happens here, all the galaxies are watching, because what happens on Earth, the people, the souls that came here now are the souls that decided you were going to be part of the war against fear. You decided you were going to take part somehow, some way in holding the vibration for the light. Now, if you say to me, Kim, no, you don't know my life. I had the worst life. I don't even like me. I have guilt. I walk around. I feel horrible about myself. I've done things that I can't even forgive myself for. I'm here to tell you to forgive yourself, because you knew no better. You knew the program. You were trying to survive your program, your system, even if it's your family system. And then we go one step further into the, system that governs us. Money is a system. Money is a system. Money is a frequency. Money has frequency. Money controls most people. When you get into the heart, you understand why you came here. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. Because when you disconnect from the fear, you start to connect. The gateway to your creativity and your purpose can only be found through the heart. Because the heart expands into other dimensions. When the heart is open, it allows, picture this. Picture the heart as the gateway and it's open. This is the connection to higher realms and truth and love. That's where in spirit, right? You become in spirit when you're in the heart. That's where the word inspiration comes from, in being in spirit. So many of you want to change your jobs or your purpose, but you don't know what it is, and you don't know why you were born. You didn't remember that yet, and you have bills, and you can't go back to start all over as many people think. But what's really interesting about that is when you're not in the heart and you're living in the lower chakras, it's going to be really, really hard for you to receive the passion or the inspiration or the faith to give you that push. Many of you might know what it is or have dreams about what you'd love to do. And you say, if I can only get rid of the fear, I can do this. And that might even be a marriage or a relationship you're in. If I can only get rid of the fear, I will feel free and I will pursue my dreams, right? So how do you get rid of the fear? Keeping a high vibration. How do you do that? There's many ways. Mostly, I like to look at it as a conscious choice in each thought, being the guard dog of your thoughts and not being affected by the system that's around you. Because you can watch everything happening around you. But I can assure you, if you came here and you were born this time around, this is not your first rodeo, number one. Your soul has the memory of every life you've ever lived, and it also has the memory and you are fully equipped to come here during this mission to hold a vibration. You're here to hold the light for the planet, okay? Because we can only hold light for whatever planet we're on. So we're on Earth right now. So how do you hold light? You'll never hold light through the lower chakras. That's too dense and dark. You have to get into the heart, and you have to find the creativity, and you have to find the inspiration. And that is what allows you to open up the gateway to the higher realms. So how does Kim do what she does? How does Kim know things about people? How does Kim give inspiration? How does Kim channel these messages? I have allowed my heart to open to filter into the higher realms. And it's not just Kim. We all have this power. We were never taught. We were taught to stay in the lower levels on the elevator, right? We never even knew there was a penthouse. We never knew we could raise up and get into the heart and into these incredible places where miracles happen. And, you know, you've heard people say, go with the flow or stay in the flow. That's, you know, the book, The Secret. It teaches you with the vibration, your thoughts become your things. Thoughts become reality. So, in every moment, you can choose to stay connected to the old program or the matrix and the fear, or you can watch the show as the observer and know how divinely protected you are and how divinely powerful you are. And you could start to remember who you truly are. And when you live in the heart, you know that truth. You know that secret. This may sound crazy, but are we all supposed to come together like an army, like a band of angels to defeat the evils? So yes, absolutely. Now, it it's the same as what I said before. If we all start to understand and wake up to the truth, and we have help waking up, by the way. There are light codes coming in from other galaxies hitting planet Earth right now. I don't write about that in the book, but I think it's worth a mention here. We have light codes coming in from... how many people have noticed the pink-orange skies that we've never seen before? We've never seen the type of skies that we see. There are light codes filtering in that are touching our hearts. And everyone's going to wake up at a different speed, but everyone's waking up in droves. This pandemic and this quarantine has allowed so many people to wake up to the truth, You know, you're scouring the internet. There are things that are starting to not make sense to you any longer. And you don't want to follow suit. You don't want to be part of the problem. You are learning to be part of the solution. So as far as a human army, yes, but the only way we're going to hold light and space to raise up the planet is first you must raise your vibration. So if you can think about an airline stewardess in a crisis on an airplane, us as lay people, we've seen that spiel, put the mask on, the seat is your floating device. Who pays attention to that? Yeah, that's not going to happen, right? But if it happens, who are we looking to for safety? Who are we going to look to get out of that airplane? We're going to look to the trained people, you know, on the crew. And we know they know what to do. They know what to do. So right now, you are the trained person. You came here because you know what to do. You just need to remember it. And then each time you realize you know what to do, you're going to hold space for someone else who doesn't know what to do. You're going to be the light in the dark for someone else. And until someone wakes up to understand these truths, they're still going to be in their lower chakras. What I want to say, Susan Richardson says, I'm crying. I hope those are tears of joy, my dear. I hope those are tears of what's resonating in your heart right now as the truth. Okay? And yes, once you know, you cannot not know anymore. What I want to say to everyone is, don't try to rush anyone else's journey, people that you love. Please don't try to rush them to come up to speed. It's happening now. It's all happening. Light codes. We all have guards, you know, guides. We all have angels. We all have this these light strands going through our bodies, helping us remember. Sometimes it might just take something like this Facebook Live or Instagram Live to remind you. Sometimes it could take taking your power back from your power center, which is also in your lower chakras. A lot of your power centers are blocked. By the way, I want to mention something. This is a little off topic, but I think you'll find this very fascinating, because my spirit guides told me that one of the reasons that the food supply is so tainted, and it has been, right? Everybody GMO free, gluten free, all these toxic chemicals. The reason that, and that's being done on purpose, people. What? Because I never understood why are we doing that, right? What is the purpose of that? How is this food getting past, you know, the FDA and all that, and the CDC? Here's the deal. If you eat poorly and your digestive system becomes dense and unsettled and bloated and constipated, I can go on and on. That is your power center. It's the same area of your body where your solar plexus is. That's where your power lies. So when you have all this going on, and you drink alcohol, and you eat these foods and sugars and everything that's not good for you, it's keeping your power center dense and blocked. So that's why when you start eating living foods, hopefully organic if you can, and taking minerals that spark the light inside of you, because that's what should be in our food, are minerals, but the minerals are being stripped. This is such a side note, by the way, but my guides told me, and I found it fascinating. It's also could be a plan to keep us in our lower chakras and take our power away, right? So we want to say, I'm not going to take this anymore. That's where we want to get to. That's the goal. And we want to get our power back, and we want to overcome fear, and we want to live in the heart. We don't want to take our power back so we can be controlling others. We want to take our power back so we can remember who we truly are, which is complete light beings connected to source, powerful, creative beings that we're, first of all, we're meant to live well past 100. We didn't get that memo. We were told 80, then you're dead. So a lot of it is what we believe and what we were taught. So we're breaking out of the matrix, just like the movie. I write about that in the book. What minerals are good to bring light? Find a good, like liquid mineral. Like, do your own research. Liquid minerals. Like, there's organic ones too. Read about it. Read about it. Because our food supply is, especially our produce, very, very stripped. The soils are not even what they should be to give us the minerals that we need, actually. Power with, not over. I'm just looking at a lot of your comments. I love what you guys are all saying. Yeah, it's right. Of course, it's time for us to not only connect to our light bodies, as in light that overcomes darkness, but also to become lighter in our bodies. And when we do that, we're going to start to find that dense foods are not even going to satisfy. We're not even going to crave those foods anymore. Once you start getting into the heart, you're going to it's just such an automatic byproduct to start eating lighter and foods that are living foods that can spark the light inside of you. So if you think about eating dead foods will never give you a spark of life, right? Live foods give you life and light. That's kind of just a very basic, equation. Very, very basic. And listen, we're allowed weak moments. Right now, we're in pandemics. We're in the house. We're by the way, if you're feeling a lot of anxiousness and you're typically not that type of a person, you're probably very sensitive to what's going on around you. AKA, you might be an empath. You're very sensitive to others, and you're coming into your. We're all rising up right now. I told you, the only way you can't rise up is if you choose to believe the lies that have not taken us anywhere and are actually taking us to hell. All right? Because the truth of the matter is, when you live in your heart and you get to that place, miracles do happen, right? Because it's against all odds. And we're not limited beings. We're not limited beings. We're miracle workers. We're creators of miracles. That's what we were meant to do. But we were lied to. We were told all these stories that, we came into sin and we're sinners and this. That's all to control and religion. And just think about it. How could a little baby be a sinner? Sorry, not buying it. And I know a lot of people are like done with these fables. Come on. We're so much smarter than that, people. I get passionate. I sometimes I get almost angry. But I try to keep it real. You know me. You know that I keep it real. Give yourself a break right now if you're having anxiety. Allow for it. Feel it. Let it pass. Breathe through it. You're supposed to actually feel it right now because when we move out of the lower chakras, like I spoke about, all the programming, gunk, a lot of gunk, is going to rise up. Trauma, abuse, it's coming up. It's got to come up to come out. So remember what I said, we were kind of pushing it down with all our distractions in our lives. Right now, I almost feel like we were meant to not have any distractions. Let it pass, feel it. It's okay to feel it. I don't care what the emotion is. It could feel it could be a dense emotion. It could be guilt. It could be shame. Let it come up. Let it come up. Feel it. But let it go out. Become the observer, not the absorber. That's how you get out of fear. When you know, you're observing it, but you're not part of it. And then you can be that airline stewardess for the panicked people around you. You may not be there yet, but if you just keep practicing moving out of the fear and into the heart where love resides and truth, always search for the truth. You know the truth will set you free. Find your truth. Don't listen to people, this truth, that truth, this conspiracy theory, that conspiracy theory. What I want you to do is close your eyes and see how it feels to you. Does it feel like truth to you? I'm not talking, don't ever think about truth. Truth can never come via logic. Truth can only be felt in the heart. So if someone asks me a question, my answer will be, how does it feel? Tell me how it feels. Does it feel true? Well, I don't know. That's what everyone's saying. No. How does it feel to you? Is it your truth? And you're like, no, it's not my truth. I don't even want it to be my truth. Then don't make it your truth. It's as simple as that. Listen, I'm all about simplifying everything because people make life difficult, and it's really not difficult, but it is choice. Everything's a choice. So this is definitely not going to be my first video, and I now know why the book was written. So much about the book. There's little quizzes at the end of each chapter. And the quizzes are for you, just so you can learn about yourself. You can learn what frequency you're vibrating on and what reality you're choosing to live in. And these questions were designed and were given me by the spirit world, by my guides. They're actually designed for you to learn more about you and how you actually do react in situations and how you can actually change that and change your frequency. You're not a victim. We were given free will in every moment, by the way. Every thought is a choice. And if you can get a handle on your thoughts in every thought and become the guard dog of your thoughts and switch the frequency, alchemize it, bring it from darkness to light, know that you did not come here to not be part of the solution. You are part of the solution. I try every day to contribute something towards the solution. I encourage you to do the same so we can band together like an army of light. And then it doesn't matter what's happening in 3D. These people can run around and kill each other. And we're just watching all these clowns living in 3D, living in fear, because greed comes from fear, power comes from fear, control comes from fear, and this is all they're trying to gain, right? They're not living in the truth that we're all equal. There is no separation. You are me and I am you, and we can never survive separately. We were put here to survive together. So with that, I want to leave you with that. I want you to know that I appreciate you tuning in, and we're only getting started. Next week is surrendering, and we'll talk about how to surrender. I do encourage you to get some form of the book, whether it be paperback, hardcover, library book, borrow it from a friend. I do believe it will change your perception, and it will alchemize your program. It will bring you higher. That's it for now. Enjoy your Friday night. Give yourself a break. One step at a time, one thought at a time. Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you soon. Next Friday, 7 o'clock. Be there.